Hello there. Well, here we are with great little trains. There's one of them, in which we take a gentle look back in time at the long-lost days of steam railways. Well, not so long-lost, actually, if you'll follow me. Incidentally, when I asked them for a mode of transport commensurate with my stature and talent, and this is what they came up with. Hi-ho, silver. Have you ever wondered what it'd be like to be on the footplate of a great steam locomotive? I have. When I was at school, dark nights under the bedclothes, imagining that I was shoveling half a ton of nutty slack into the hungry firebox of the Torbay Express as it roared westward. Oh, memories. So here we are, in the land of the Great Western Railway, South Devon. Oh! Where are we? Ah, yes. Buckfastleigh, or Buckfastleigh as it's known more properly locally, on the old South Devon Railway. Buckfastleigh to Totnes by way of Staverton. And they say it's one of the most attractive steam railways in the West Country. So now you know. Ah, good day to you. One Pullman ticket to Totnes, please. Hang the expense has always been my motto, particularly if you're not paying.
Well, sir, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This used to be called the Buckfastleigh and Totnes and South Devon Railway, proving the point that the longer the name, the shorter the railway line. Still, it is jolly good value. For this, you get 25 minutes of glorious Devon countryside. The man who put the great into Great Western Railway was its great-great-grandfather. Well, his great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. You can't have too many greats. For Isambard Kingdom Brunel, the great engineer, he built the Great Western Railway. He built Paddington Station, he built the Tamar Bridge, you name it, he built it. He was the great engineer. And he wrote in 1840, it seemed to me that the whole machine was too small for the work to be done. That it required the parts to be on a scale more commensurate with the mass and velocity to be attained. How about that? The mass and velocity to be attained. That's a railwayman speaking. Ah, yes. What do they say? Nostalgia's not what it's cracked up to be. Well, they haven't travelled on the Buckfastleigh, Totnes and South Devon Railway besides the River Dart, watching the salmon leaping upstream. It must be the romantic in me. Is it the engine shrouded in steam, hissing and puffing impatiently? Is it the way the cows and sheep look arrogantly up as we thunder through their field? Is it the gentle, meandering nature of these lines? I tell you what, it's certainly not the coffee. Yeah, listen to this. At the reopening ceremony of the Dark Valley Railway in 1969, the guest speaker was one Lord Beeching. Do you remember him? A name akin to Hannibal Lecter's in the years of most railway lovers throughout the land. He apparently said that had he not closed the line in 1959, then he could not have reopened it. Ah, Stoverton. It said they do rather a fine old chocolate machine here. Stomach rumbles. Ah! Luckily, I have the necessary old penny. 1D. It's got to be past its sell-by date. Yes, look at that. 1910. Ooh. Hello. Ooh, mustache. Got to meet two rather important people on the train. Hello, Shakespeare. The Dart Valley, nestling as it does in the foothills of Dartmoor, it's got to be the steam utopia, the railway buff's version of the Stretford end, I suppose. The line was designed by Brunel in 1848 at an estimated cost of around 100,000 quid. Not bad for giving nearly 150 years of pleasure to millions of railway lovers throughout the world. Value for money in any man's language. You can't beat it. The River Dart rolling by, a nice, comfortable seat, and the company of lunatics, quite frankly. And here we have Mr. Richard Elliott, who, he has it all, really. I mean, he certainly has his own railway. This man actually gave up being assistant bank manager of a high street bank for this. Clearly mad. And with him, Mr. Bill Wright, the commercial manager of the South Devon Railway, who I understand lives in a railwayman's hut when he comes to live down here. Quite clearly, we're in trouble here. Is it true to say, gentlemen, you are actually both 8 carriages short of a train, quite frankly? I have to give up a good life for this.
We don't think so, do we, Bill?
My friends may think so when I leave to go and play trains from Watford. They're very suspicious. It's another world, they say.
How long have you actually been doing this, associated with the line?
30 years now. Yeah. I came here first in 1965 to help out on the track work that we were doing at the time to try and get the line resurrected. And I've done all sorts of things since then. I've been signalman, guard, ticket inspector. Never actually been a driver or a fireman on the line, but never mind.
And you were at the bank all this time, were you? I mean,
yes, I was working for a bank. And
then what happened? When did you become a big cheese?
In 1991, I handed in my notice to the bank one day and came down here as general manager.
Is that roughly your story? Have you given it all away?
Oh, well, I first met the railway in probably 1935 in my little short white socks coming up on a Charabanc trip from Torquay. And it's just been woven into my life ever since. I couldn't escape. It reached out for me.
This next question may be slightly embarrassing. You are allowed to lie, and it may involve trouble at the bank. But does this line actually pay for itself?
Only with the help of volunteers. We've got a very strong volunteer association, and we have about 250 people helping with the operation of the line in one way or the other. And we've only got 7 full-time staff. So if it weren't for the volunteer side, no, it wouldn't pay its way. But as it is, we make a small surplus every year, 35,000 in 1994, and we plough it all back into the infrastructure of the railway and the restoration of all the carriages and engines.
So that's basically why, Bill, why you can do it and British Rail can't, really. It's the volunteer force.
It's the unpaid labour.
I've advertised you as being the most attractive railway in the West Country. What else do you have? This is time for a free plug. What else do you have to offer the customers?
Well, we like to think we're heading towards a museum on wheels. You're sitting in a 1932 coach used to carry passengers to and from Plymouth, from the ocean liners docking there, and it was the Great Western's answer to Pullman coaches. So you're sitting in history.
And you can be married in here, I gather.
I should think so, yes. Yes,
you
we
have
certainly
parties?
celebrate weddings with parties in here. The new laws, maybe we can actually marry you.
Talking of history on wheels, I was wondering if I might make a little. Is there any possible chance that I could get onto the footplate? I mean, this would make an old man very happy.
Certainly will, if you. Only too delighted. You'd like to come down to the engine with me, we'll bail you on board.
A lifetime's ambition realised. Oh, look at those cows. They're beautiful. This is terrific. This is all my dreams come true. This is much, much better than anything that ever happened under the bedclothes. What he's doing now is stoking the Dutchman. I'll bet you some bars they've had to Stoke Dutchman. Is it terrific? Can I pull the whistle?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, she's wonderful. God knows what he's doing to the Dutchman now. Smoke for a bit of fresh air, in the traditional British manner. Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. We're on Goodrington Sands. Whither, in the old days, great steam locomotives like the city of Truro, King George IV, Pendennis Castle would hie from Paddington. The Cornish Riviera Express, whoosh! The Torbay Express, whoosh! The roof racks packed to the gills on Saturdays, all for a bit of this. Now, the station here is on the Paynton Dartmouth Steam Railway, 7 miles long and 30 minutes end to end. The irony is that the Paynton and Dartmouth Steam Railway doesn't actually go to Dartmouth. It goes to Kingswear on this side of the estuary, and then you have to get rather a pretty ferry across to Dartmouth. That's their business, it has nothing to do with us. Ah! My carriage awaits. Goodrington Sands. You know, Enid Blyton had to be thinking of a station like this when the famous Five went off on their adventures with Timmy the dog. Did the famous Five include Timmy the dog? Oh, that'll keep me awake tonight. Imagine arriving here after a 4-hour journey from London with your dad telling you to sit still and shut up every 5 minutes. Just look at it. Marvellous. Here we are, hot foot from Paddington Station. The Torbay Express via Exeter and Newton Abbot, eating the miles up with every cloud of billowing white smoke. And every mile made some little boy's heart beat faster and faster, excitement mounting unbearably. Arriving at last at Goodrington Sands, bucket and spade ready and primed, sand shoes and shrimping nets loaded and cocked.
Good morning.
Excuse me, I wondered if you were doing a small favour. It's a little thing for you, because you do it all the time, but for me it'd be a once-in-a-lifetime. I just wondered if I could, have a
Certainly, you might.
Oh!
Thank you.
Gosh, right. All aboard! Oh, this is tremendous. I can understand why you enjoy this. Main the doors, main the doors. I think that's London Underground. Probably wrong here. Yeah, out, right. Can I borrow your whistle?
Certainly, Mike.
Will you be all right now? Oh, this is a golden moment. Ah! Thank you. Get on quick or we're dead. Sorry to leave, actually. Leaving all the fun behind. Still, we can't dawdle when there's a railway to run. Kingswear and the ferry await. Of all the lines we've visited, this has to be the most typical British holiday seaside line. You can smell the fish and chips and the candy floss. You can taste the sea salt on the lips. No? Well, take my word for it. We're back in an age when polystyrene burger boxes and those awful headphones were as distant to the passengers of those times as London or Birmingham. And you might be travelling with a whole carriage load of cadets, perhaps, from the Royal Naval College, Dartmouth. Or are they equally fascinating people? Up she comes. Come on, girl, one last push. It's 1 in 60 here. This'll sort out the locos and the old boilers. More coal, please, Farman. Let's give them value for money. Now, wasn't that worth it? The best view Devon can offer. Berry Head and over to Brixham. though the water's bearable. It's probably only 25 below and quite definitely cold enough to bring tears to your eyes. I'm standing here, surrounded by ghosts. Fictitious ghosts, admittedly, but ghosts nonetheless. There's Inspector Japp, there's Colonel Hastings, Miss Jane Marple, and I'll pat him on his bald head, Hercule Poirot. There they all are. Now, you've spotted the connection already. What you may not have spotted is the next bit of the connection, which is that we're about to enter Greenway Tunnel. And at the other end of Greenway Tunnel, if you look up through the trees, you will see Greenway House, and that was the home of, yes, you guessed it, Agatha Christie. And sitting here is Agatha Christie's grandson, Matthew Pritchard, nonetheless. So you must have used this train, or did you have to change to Torquay when you came to visit grandmother?
No, straight down on the Torbay Express from London. I left school, which had a station called Midgham near Reading, and we went up to London, and then caught the Torbay Express with a rather slightly bigger steam engine than we've got today, and straight down to Churston.
In this sort of compartment?
Well, not quite. I mean, it had a, as far as I remember, it had a passage and
a corridor train,
and a loo at the end, you know, and all that kind of thing. And but the railway line between Paynton and Churston was sort of beloved because I used to bathe on Broadsands Beach, which is just on our right now, and you could see the train going over the viaduct, which we're just about to go over now. And in those days, children have encyclopedic memories, and I knew all the trains, you know, and what time they went and all that kind of thing. Rather like when we were sitting in my grandmother's boathouse, I knew the names of all the boats that went up the river, and sort of transport was one of my childish delights, I think. And it was all built around trains. I mean, my stepfather was a great train enthusiast too, and he spent one day poring over the train timetable, and he reckoned that there was a window of opportunity, as he called it, that we could actually walk through the tunnel between trains. That we had, I think, I forget what it was, 19 minutes, because there's only one line, you see. They don't come.
But it's quite lengthy.
Well, we had to be, but anyway, my mother was rather against this trip, as you might imagine, but my stepfather, Anthony, and I decided we were going to do it, and I had a friend staying, so we duly had one last pore over the timetable and shot down to the entrance of the tunnel and walked at a brisk pace through the tunnel, heart beating, as you can imagine, aged 11 or something like that. But the really embarrassing thing came when my friend chickened out halfway down, and he shot back towards the end we'd come from. But we made it to the other end. And there's Elbury Cove over there. We used to...
Oh, fine old bathing huts.
Yes,
Very nice.
That's right, yes. And it was wonderful summer holidays for kids down there.
How long did your grandmother actually live in the house?
Well, she bought it just before the Second World War, and for £2,000, which she thought was recklessly extravagant.
Yes.
And she was lived there all her. I mean, and she was. I think she bought it in 1938 or 39, and then of course the war broke out, and she was then ejected by the U.S. Navy, who commandeered it as an officers' mess during the war. So we had, you know, X number of officers living in the place, and actually they treated it very carefully. When my grandmother came to reclaim it in 1945, she found a large frieze painted around the top corner of one of the rooms, which depicted the U.S. Navy's progress throughout the war, starting in somewhere in Virginia, I can't remember now, and ending up with quite a decent sort of, you know, fresco of Greenway, and with a naked lady lying on some cushions, which was, you know, where they ended up. And the U.S. Navy were very polite. They said, Mrs. Mallowan, do you want, you know, we're sorry, we've been sort of doodling on your walls. Do you want us to remove it? And she said, no, I think it's a wonderful historical record of what happened to Greenway during the war. And so there it remains to this day. It's getting a little bit dog-eared, but it's still there.
Legend has it they also left her with 28 lavatories.
Well, there are certainly an awful lot.
We are now entering the Greenway Tunnel.
There you go.
All right, Hercule. Somewhere up there, when we get through, here we go. And the house is
absolutely above us now.
Above us now, and you can't actually see it from here.
No, there are too many trees with butterflies in them.
But your mother still lives there?
My mother still lives there. She's lived there now ever since I got married and lived in the family house in Wales. My mother's lived here, and very pretty it is too.
Now, before I'm banned from every railway line this side of the Mendips, don't try walking through the Greenway Tunnel today. Pedestrians in tunnels and steam locomotives travelling at 45 miles an hour in the other direction, don't mix. You have been warned. The River Dart, somewhat larger than when we last saw her back in Buckfastleigh. Now, if you had to choose a venue for a picture postcard photographer's convention, look no further. Imagine letting them loose on this magnificent vista. Off you go, boys. Feast your little shutters on that lot. I'm very lucky to get this special guided tour, digging back in Matthew's memory, allowing me to relive childhood adventures, places long lost, just as he left them hundreds of years ago. Just as real and just as sunny. Over there, we have the Britannia Royal Naval College, Dartmouth. That's a sight that must have chilled the hearts of some of our future commanders and rear admirals. Here we are, end of the line, Kingswear. Dumbleton Hall, is it? I must admit, I don't know a thing about trains. You can tell this one is very, very special. Oh dear. Very special indeed. 120 tons of schoolboy's dream. Schoolgirls as well, I expect. Standing there, huffing and puffing, simmering, waiting to take us back in time. To quote the old advertisement, supreme in steam. I gather there's a Brunel snack bar here, and given the fact he designed the Tamar Bridge and Paddington Station, apart from anything else, I can hardly wait to see the size of the hot dogs.
Join Willie Rushton on the Bodmin and Wenford line and the West Somerset Railway at the same time next week.
Please visit our website for news about new productions that are on the way, and you can support my work on my Patreon page. Thank you.